Hello, everybody. Welcome to Writers with Purpose. I am Mel Veese from Written Words Publishing. At Written Words Publishing, we envision a world where every storyteller, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to share their voice, shape narratives, and impact the world through the written word. And before I get started today, let me just welcome everybody to Writers with Purpose and remind you to please like and subscribe and share if you've been watching this podcast and you are enjoying these fun interviews with all these awesome authors, tell somebody about it, all right? Like the video so Writers with Purpose and the authors will know just how much you enjoy the show. Watch the video, go purchase their books, okay? Our guest on the show today is going to be our guest on the show today is Pernell McNear. He is the author of the supernatural psychological thriller titled Atavism: When Justice and Revenge Take More Than a Lifetime. In this story, Dr. Norma Hurston is drawn into the disturbing case of Nicole Summers, a woman accused of killing a police officer in New Orleans. But what begins as therapy becomes something far more unsettling. As ancestral memories surface and haunting visions of powerful women from the 1800s emerge, Norma must confront a buried legacy of pain, power, and the truth. This story is packed full of justice, revenge, generational traumas, and ancestral awakenings. And for those of you who atavism may be a new word to your vocabulary as it is to mine, I just want to read the definition to you according to the dictionary app. Atavism is the reappearance of an individual of characteristics of some remote ancestor that have been absent in intervening generations. An individual embodying such a reversion to an earlier type, in a sense, a throwback. So it sounds like that's like when your ancestors come back and take over your present. I'm not 100% sure, but we're going to invite Pernell to the stage so he can tell us all about it. Welcome to the show, Pernell. How are
Hey,
you doing today?
I am great. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for coming on the show and being a guest on Writers with Purpose. So tell us a little something about yourself and tell us the purpose behind writing activism.
Well, thank you again for inviting me on. So my name is Pernell McNear. I'm a family man. I'm originally from Panama City, Florida. I'm a military veteran. My whole purpose for writing is to bring awareness to people who can't necessarily present themselves to the world. So I try to use experiences and conversations I've had over the years to try to bring people's story out who necessarily can't tell the stories for themselves. So that's and another purpose, another mission of mine is to help uplift fallen humanity. So that's some of my goals.
All right, so that's great to like give a peek into to our history and to the ancestors and what they were doing and what they were thinking and how they activated through life, in their trying times.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yes.
So atavism, I wrote atavism. It's primarily about she's a female protagonist who is a clinician. She comes in contact with a young lady, and once she starts to come in contact with this lady, she starts experiencing supernatural activity. Um, as the story progresses, we start to understand that they have more in common than anticipated. So that was it's really dealing with ancestral worship and ancestor veneration and the presence of our ancestors showing up in the present. So it's parallels between the past and the present, combining mingling into the future, into the present moment.
That's interesting. Well, for aspiring thriller writers who are watching, what's one hard truth about writing a psychological suspense that they need to understand?
For me personally, I don't. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but when I write from the heart. So I kind of I get information and downloads from the I don't want to say spirits, but I get information and I use that information to put in the characters inside of my books. So I mean, I think that the best thing is just to write from the heart and let your spirit talk to you, and so it shouldn't be much of a challenge from there.
That's true. Yeah, you have to write from your heart and write what's pressing hard on your mind. And you know what, Pernell, ain't nothing wrong with bragging. Ain't nothing wrong with bragging at
Yeah,
all. Right here, but we giving you all the shine and all the glory. Go
yeah,
ahead
I appreciate that.
and, and brag, because if you use your knowledge and your talents and your gifts to produce a great piece of work, we want to know that. We want to
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, but
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Yeah. So what do you think was the hardest scene to write in the story?
So well, what I originally did, what I do for my writing, I write the screenplay first. So Atavism is based off a script that I wrote about 3 years ago. The most challenging scene was bringing attention to. It's more common for young women to get sexually assaulted. So for me to bring that awareness to my character, that was it was really hard for me because I know that a lot of people can relate to sexual trauma and being abused as young kids. But I had to do it because like I said, I want to bring awareness to it because a lot of people experience that, but they keep it bottled up inside, and that causes sickness and everything else. But I wanted to create something like an escape for people who have experienced past trauma, sexual trauma, whatever trauma that has been. So yeah, the hardest part was for me writing the actual scenes for what was going on inside of that
Mm.
particular incident.
Yeah, because as an author, as a writer, some people don't may not know that you when you're writing it, you have to live it. You have to feel it. You have to envision it. You have to experience it. So if your character is distressed or pain or traumatized, you literally are distressed and pain and
Yeah,
traumatized.
it's like I mean, I would say it's like, for me personally, writing is it's a spiritual connection because it might not happen. It happens in the spiritual world, but you bring it into the physical on the paper. So it's actually channeling in incidents that happen. Like just being inside of the area, like inside of the scene. It's kind of like you're actually in there. You're like an empath spirit experiencing all the trauma, all the emotions, and everything else. And I think that's a great, tool to be able to access, to be able to make these characters relatable to people. And that's what I try to do. I just like I said earlier, I just write from the heart, and whatever comes from there is what it's meant to be.
Yeah, so with the traumas that are you know prevalent in your book, did you give a trigger warning for your readers, like at the beginning of the book, or is there any way that someone would know beforehand? I'm just asking because I'm a part of a lot of writers groups, and it seems that trigger warnings are real popular, for lack of a better way to say it. But I don't recall ever seeing trigger warnings in any books, by
Yeah,
great authors in the past. It seems like some new type of thing to me, in my personal opinion. And I made this comment on a post one day, and they totally tried to tear me down for it. But I really truly do believe that people are just like super oversensitive
yeah.
nowadays.
Hmm.
And I don't think that trigger warnings are necessary, but I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I mean, as a self-published writer, I just go in for what I think my spirit tells me. Um, I don't try to be insensitive to anyone's feelings. I don't think that trigger warning is necessary. If you're telling the truth is uncomfortable. And when you're reading it, if it's relatable to the masses, then they don't need no trigger warning. It's just what it is, what it is. Well,
Yeah.
what I did in my book, like I said earlier, I try to uplift fallen humanity. So what I did was in the beginning of my books, I tried to give respect and honor to the people who came before me, and having an outlet or um, having them access information that was already there prior to me starting to write. So I didn't really want it to be about me. I want people to be educated and be able to access information from my ancestors who are not here. And you can, once you read the book, you'll see I gave respect to no what's her name, Zora Neale Hurston and Langston Hughes and people from that time period who were trying to help progress our people, and that's what I tried to do in my writing. So um, that's the one thing that I did. As far as, it's not a trigger warning, but it's more so of sharing information with the people so they can continue to be elevated. Is what I try to do.
That's a awesome way to do it, to integrate the past into the now and give a clear lesson, a clear
Yes.
history
Yes.
lesson about our history without even having to label it as a history lesson, especially with the way they're doing nowadays, trying to erase, Black history from education. My son told me the other day, he said, Mom, when I was in the, second grade, I knew who Harriet Tubman was. He asked my grandson, who's Harriet Tubman? He said, I don't know. Is that like a basketball player or something?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay, we got some work to do here.
Yeah, so that's what I tried to do in this book too, atavism. Like I said, I consider my work what they call, like, I don't know, it's called faction. So I actually take, information that I've heard over the years and try to implement that information into the characters. And it's sharing, historical events that have taken place in the past, so we can keep our memory alive, so it won't be forgotten. You know what I mean? So I took this when I started writing atavism. It was initially going to my hometown of Panama City, Florida. But once I started writing, it actually took me to New Orleans. And New Orleans, as I'm writing, I started understanding the connections with, hoodoo and voodoo and ancestral work, deity worship, and all these combined together to help form my book, Atavism. So it's a combination of ancient history, ancestor worship, deity worship, spirituality. Also, it's epigenetics. So when you look at the name of atavism, it's really us accessing our memories from like 12 generations ago. We can actually do that. Some people call it deja vu, but it's actually us having spiritual connections from the past that show up in the present. So that's what atavism was really about.
That makes sense. Well, do you think that our spiritual connections to the past carry any type of emotional or psychological residue in our present?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer. Like we carry trauma inside of our DNA. If you think about why are we so angry? We just it's in our DNA to be angry because we can experience that trauma and those emotions from a past lifetime. And another thing is, coming up, I remember my grandmother saying, you know, he reminds me of such and such. You can relate to, they can relate, see you in your spirit from one of your ancient people or ancestors that they say, they might even name you after them. You know what I'm saying? To embody that spirit and the emotions of who they were. And so we've been on this type of knowledge and information for years, but I think we kind of gotten away from it. But now it's about time for us to connect back to the past in order for us to move in the future uh, with great um, abilities to access spiritual connections from the past. I think we need that.
We definitely do need that. So you mentioned that your book was a screenplay first before you turned it into a novel. Do you see your book as a movie in the future on
Yeah,
the big screen?
yes, I do. So I wrote another book before. It's called The White House, and the White House is dealing with a reform school. It's loosely based off of actual events too. So what I do is, for me personally, I write the movie first, and then I go in because the characters have more to say. I can do more character development inside the book. You see what I'm saying? So yes, I definitely they're movies, and it's just waiting on the right opportunity for someone to come along and get it going on because it's um it's about time that people really told the truth with these movies and don't whitewash anything. It's about truth right now. So we need to get it going on.
That is true. You know, that is a pretty. I see a lot of people saying that. A lot of writers or a lot of aspiring authors who say, you know, I have a story, but I'm not sure exactly how to get it out. Writing it as a movie first. That's a pretty ingenious way to do it, and then that will help ensure that you're actually showing what's going on, in opposed to telling it and then taking it and turning the script into a movie. That I mean, into a novel. That's a pretty neat way. Next time somebody asks me, I'm going to make that suggestion. You know, you could try it this way, or you could try it that way. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I mean, initially, I was all balls to the wall. I'm like, nah, I'm a movie. These are movies. You know what I mean? But when I wrote my first book, I'm at my first movie, The White House. It just sat on the shelf, and then one day I'm like, how can I get some momentum with this book or this movie? So I said, the characters they were talking at your writer, so so I had more information and I had more character development, and then I started going back to my notes and going back to the movies, and then I was able to combine all that together to make the novel, and that's what I started to do. It worked for me, so that's all I can say. It worked for me.
That's cool. Yeah, you definitely have to do what works for you. So that's another thing that writers need to know. I've heard writers say, "Oh, you know, well, you need to write a certain amount of words every day. Just write anything, and eventually it'll turn into something. Or you should do this, or you should do that, or you should do this." But what you need to know is you have to do what works for you. So you find out what others are doing, but what works for one might not necessarily work for you. So you have to
That's
find
right.
out what is going to work best for you, and then go for it. Go for it. It's
Yeah.
not that hard. It's not, I mean, it's not complicated. For I can't say hard. It's not complicated.
I think the hardest thing for a lot of people is really having that confidence to do it. Like we all have stories inside of us, but some people might feel like their story is not worth telling. But all of our stories are worth telling because that's what keeps the spirit alive. Our ancestors, they sat around. There was no writing, so they spoken oral traditions, and that's how the legacies and the information got passed on to the generations was through oral tradition. So everyone has that story to tell. Just do it. Like you said earlier, it's not that hard. Just do it. And it doesn't matter if it sells or not, you just tell your story and speak from the heart.
That's right. Just tell your story and speak for the heart. And what I find is that it first of all, know that you cannot please everybody, so don't try. Okay,
Yes.
you whatever you write, there's going to be someone out there who doesn't like it. That is a given. So don't be discouraged or feel hindered because somebody else might not like what you're writing. That's number one. Number two, if you like it, that's what counts.
Yes.
When you read your story and you can read your book over and over and over and over again and enjoy it every single time you read it,
Yeah.
you got it. You got it right
Yeah,
there.
it's entertaining. And I always, for me, I'm when I go back and I read my work, if I'm entertained by it, I know someone else is going to be entertained by it. I find myself laughing at certain situations. I find myself crying in certain situations. So if I'm experiencing all these emotions, I know my readers will experience that also. And so that's what I try to do with my writing.
Yes, most definitely, most definitely. Well, let everybody know where they can purchase your book. We're gonna put the book cover up here so everybody can recognize it when they see it. Where can we purchase Activism?
Okay,
Atavism. So gotta make sure
atavism,
we pronounce it. Atavism. Atavism.
atavism.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I want to give a shout out to the book. The book cover is a handmade, a hand drawn image that I had a brother do named Robbie Curry. So he did this. He did this to bring my characters to life, and so I'm really appreciative of him. So you can find my books at pmcneartheauthor.com. They're also on Amazon, um, also on Barnes and Nobles. And you can find me on Instagram at Pernell McNear, the author, and also on Facebook at Pernell McNear. So those are the platforms that you can access. Now, for my first book, if people are interested in audiobooks, I have a audio book on my website, Pernell McNear, the author, um, pmcneartheauthor.com, to where you can go and download the audiobook directly to your devices.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, y'all. Here's some publishing tips for you right here. It's always great to have your own website and have your work available where people can purchase it directly from you. It's awesome to have it available everywhere where they can go to their favorite retailer and purchase it. But ultimately, you want them to come and buy it from you and cut out the middleman. you know,
Yes.
a lot of people don't realize that you can have a website and you can sell your products, you can sell your audio books, you can sell your ebooks. Yes, if they want to go somewhere else, they can go somewhere else and they know your name, they know the title, they know what the cover looks like, they can find you. But that doesn't mean you have to drive them somewhere else when you can
Yeah.
drive them directly to your website. Okay. We just
Hey,
have to put that out there.
it's like you were saying, cut out the middleman because these companies get a large percentage of our money. You know what I mean? So um, we putting in the effort, so we should get the effects of our labor. So like you're exactly right. I definitely agree with you on having your own platforms for people to go in and get your work.
Hmm. Yeah, a lot of people, if they are not part of the publishing industry or don't know how it works from the inside, do not know that the price of the book is not what the author receives. The
Yes.
price of the book is not what the author receives. If it's at a retailer, the retailer had to receive a huge discount, usually of at least 40 to 50% or more. Then the cost of printing the book is deducted. And then if there's any other type of contract involved, what's left over may have to be split between a publisher or a narrator or whomever before the author gets their cut. So whatever the price is not what the author receives. And if you really truly want to support the authors, number one, purchase it directly from them, and number two, leave a review. And we have a viewer here. She says that yes, a movie for both. She can't wait. She recommends you, Pernell. Your books take you on, well, his books, Pernell's books, take you on a spiritual journey. She felt a connection with her ancestors, and she only heard from family stories about. So that is awesome. So that
Yes.
right there.
Thank you,
Yes.
Tashika.
Yes, thank you, Sashika. It's always great when our audience participates with us. So
Yes.
this is awesome. This is
Mhm.
awesome. All right. Well, is there anything else that you would like to tell our viewers before we get out of here today?
No, I just want to tell everybody, just keep pushing. Never give up on your dreams. No matter what somebody told you couldn't do, forget what they say. Just go for what your spirit tells you to do, and just keep pushing. No matter what your obstacles are, just keep going and never give up.
That's right. Keep pushing, keep going for your goals. If you can think it and you believe it, eventually you will see it manifest. Stay positive, stay focused, and do what it is that you were called to do. Awesome. That is an awesome last word for our show here today. What? Okay, okay. Somebody says, well, you know what? It's all right if you caught the end of another great interview because this whole interview will be available. You can rewatch it at any time across all platforms. It's going to be on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, X, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads. I'm posting it all
Wow.
over the place.
Well,
Okay, so
thank
you can
you.
go
I
back.
appreciate
Yes,
it.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So you can go back and watch it at any time,
Hmm.
anytime. Yeah, so thank you so much, Pernell, for being a guest on the show. I just love hosting authors and having conversations with authors and finding out the purpose behind their work and seeing how we are all so like-minded and we all just think alike. It's just awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, you're doing a great job, and we need platforms like yours because I mean, like I said earlier, as a self-published author, you got to do your own legwork, and you just gotta get out there the best way you can. So we need platforms like yours, and I appreciate your time, your energy, your effort, and everything. So hats off to you, Melvis.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, just one more tip before I hit the out button here. Marketing, marketing. Nobody can market your work better than you. Do not solely rely on somebody else to spread the word about your book. You have to identify your target audience and you have to come up with a plan to attract their attention. Sell yourself, sell your work.
Yes,
Okay? All right.
beautiful. I love it.
All right,
Take care,
y'all.
baby girl.
Thank you. Thank you. This is awesome. So, y'all have a great day, and we will see you all on the next episode of Writers with Purpose.
See you.